Good evening, Cubes of the Cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here. And tonight, guys, we have a special co-host because he's been out of it for a while, claiming life is really busy, like I believe that. But we have Mr. Chip Gettler joining us as co-host. Chip, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, sir. Doing great. How are you doing today?
I am very well, thank you very much. And our man of honor, the guest tonight, Scott from Hoarders Hide. Scott, how are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm phenomenal, other than I'm hot.
Right. Oh, yeah. I think we're all suffering from that. And then we'll complain it's cold in a few months.
Yeah.
No, you will never hear me bitch about that.
Yeah. Nice. So we'll say a little quick hi to the chat. Who's rolling in here? Of course, we have Las Cruces. How you doing, sir? We have Gene Mallow. How you doing, sir? We have Chop and Drop. Good evening, buddy. Zoe and Pops. Good evening, guys. How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. We have Trev. Thank you, Trev. Great to see you, sir. And
he's my new subscriber, by the way.
What's that?
Said he's my new subscriber, Trev. So thank you very much.
Great dude. Another one of those in the community that's everywhere, supporting everybody all the time.
Yeah.
So Scott, as I like to do as we're starting this show, before we get into the actual interview part, could you please, for those watching on the rewind who have never been exposed to you, give a quick synopsis of yourself and your channel?
Lots of art and golden age unboxings and bunny mask. That's
never enough bunny mask.
Never enough bunny mask. I sprinkle in some bronze, some war titles, but you're going to see lots of Del 4 color, lots of artwork, and no consistency.
You're a seasoned collector who likes a little bit of all the seasonings.
Eclectic, very, very eclectic.
So let's get before we talk comics. I know original art is a big thing to you, plus page layouts, all that stuff. Tell me how you went down that rabbit hole. Like, what started your original art journey?
I saw a piece on eBay 25 years ago, maybe, whenever eBay started. I started buying books on eBay and saw a piece of artwork pop up. I'm like, hey, what's this? I didn't even know you could buy original art from books, because I'd never been to a convention at that point. So I saw the piece of artwork pop up. I'm like, well, if they're selling this, they have to be selling artwork for Spectre, which was one of my big collects at the time. And obviously they were. So I have several Spectre pieces that I've acquired since then.
Right, and you got whole portfolios put together.
I don't have an exact count, but I'm going to guess I've got, well, ballpark about 350 maybe pieces of original art.
Holy crap!
That's pretty massive.
I mean, that's counting sketches. That's counting community art, local artists.
Wow.
Actually, it's probably closer to 400 if I bring all of those into play, all of the local artists, and because I collect art outside of comic art. Comic art's kind of got me started down that road.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's some of the favorite pieces that you actually have? Like, what would you say would, like, if I'm saying, okay, not comic art, but what other kind of art are you talking?
Local artists.
Just, I mean, like, are you talking like, are we talking oil painting landscapes and stuff like that? Or, okay, gotcha.
Mainly. There are an artist by the name of Leslie Cope. He's actually semi-famous. He had art hanging in some of the big museums in New York. Cool. I think he even had some hanging somewhere in Paris. And he's came from England. He did landscapes mainly.
Yeah.
Large Amish community near where I live. He did lots and lots of Amish paintings. And he was big into pottery. He worked for Weller Pottery, which is pretty famous.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. He's responsible for a lot of the art on a lot of the Weller pottery. And
holy crap, that's cool.
And Rick Weiscarver is another local artist who he did his own pottery and painted as well. So those are just a couple. There's a couple of local artists that are still alive that I buy from too. Maybe commission once in a while, but Cope and Weiscarver were the big two.
Now, do you also collect like pottery and stuff like that from them as well, or just the paintings?
A little bit, anything that they did.
Gotcha.
Weiscarver, every piece of Weiscarver was hand painted.
Yeah.
And if the painting on the piece is something that I'm drawn to, then I'll grab it, depending on price.
Yeah.
And same with the coat. You know, if anything that Leslie did is a piece that interests me. Most of Leslie's stuff, though, was mass produced. He did the original, and then it was
copied over and over and over again.
Right. Where anything Weiscarver did, he put his own hands on it.
Yeah, the one and done, never to be replicated. Very cool.
Right. But yeah, I mean, probably my favorite piece I've got altogether was from Cope. It's a pastel piece that is 70 years old, probably 60 or 70 years old, and the colors on it are just so vibrant. It's amazing. It was in its original frame when I got it, and it looked kind of dingy. And it's because the chalk had over the years kind of come off and adhered to the inside of the glass.
Yeah.
So it made the picture look dank.
You did, and
And then as soon as I got it reframed, as soon as we took it out of the frame, me and the people in the frame shop were both just like our jaws dropped, how gorgeous it was.
Wow. I think I actually seen you showing that off when you got it.
Yeah, I did some before and after pictures on that on Instagram.
Yes. Yeah, I remember. Yep. Very cool. Very cool. See, learned something new about him today, guys. Not only comics, but pottery and art.
I collect everything. It's an addiction.
Collect that.
It's a sickness.
Well, it's part of the hoarder title, which we're going to get to.
Exactly.
Before you actually had the name Hoarders Hide, when did you realize that you were a hoarder? Was there an age where the light bulb went off? You're like, oh crap, I'm a hoarder.
5.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I remember when I said I was never going to be like that. I was probably 16, and I had a friend who was a card collector, and I can remember in his bedroom he had a path cleared, and he literally had to jump over boxes of cards to get to his bed.
Holy crap!
Because he had so many baseball cards, and I thought I'm never going to be like that. So fast forward
10 years later.
Yeah, I'm not jumping over baseball cards. Let's put it like that. But
yeah,
I was probably in my late 20s when I started.
Yeah,
everything started to excel. I started to get bored easily. So instead of just collecting one thing, you collect multiple things. Sort of like collecting multiple runs in comics. You get bored looking for just one.
Yep.
So I get bored.
I don't know about you, Scott, but I'll ask this question first, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into it. What is the biggest complete collection you have of a run? If you have a complete run of something.
I don't. The biggest complete run is probably Fables. 149 issues or whatever it is. That's probably my biggest complete run. And it's not complete because there's one retailer variant that I'm missing. That's just crazy money when you find it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
when you have the complete story, it's okay if you don't have a variant cover.
Yeah, it's not like I'm looking for every Mark Jewelers or.
Because especially in today's market, it's impossible to have every cover. There's covers out there you don't even know were made by comic book shops, and like if you're an Archie collector, Rhinos has had 2 Archie covers in the last year that that are exclusive to them. Nobody that's outside of Rochester would know about that.
Although I did just find out with Bunny Mask in their trade paperback, the last 30 pages are a reprint of every cover for the series.
Oh, nice.
So if you want a checklist of what covers you're missing, you can just buy the trade paperback.
And I do like when they do the galleries like that.
Yeah.
It's always nice because you want to see all the artwork as it was meant to be displayed.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but getting down the collection part of it, how easy was it for you to end up collecting multiple things other than books? Like, because I mean, you sent me an AOK that was this incredible Conan toy, but you're into guns, you're into knives, you're into toys, you're into original art, plus probably a dozen other things that we've never seen from you. Is it hard for you to control only collecting certain things, or do you find yourself going down rabbit holes often?
Less often now. I tend to drift. I'll get bored with one area, move on to another. And a lot of it comes with how advanced of a collector you are. You get to a certain point where the low-hanging fruit's already been picked.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can't pick any more low stuff because, I've got glassware. I collect glassware, and I've got so much that I can't display it, so I just put it in totes and shove it under the bed. And I pulled a tote out the other day that probably weighed 75 pounds, and it was just ashtrays.
Wow.
Crap.
Just made by, there's a local company. It's called Cambridge Glass, and they made glass from like 1909 until 1950. And it was 75 pounds of ashtrays from the Cambridge Glass company.
What would you say? I know ashtrays is a pretty odd thing to collect, but what would you say is the oddest thing you collect? Or is it ashtrays? It's not odd to you, I know, but
I don't know. Nothing. When you collect it, you don't think it's odd.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, I guess you're most eclectic.
I collected meerschaum pipes, so some people would think that was odd. I didn't, because at the time I smoked pipes. So I would collect meerschaum pipes. I collected stop or pocket watches for a long time.
See, that's cool. Dang.
So weird or unusual to one person is, run of the mill to somebody else, and it's run of the mill to the collector usually.
Yeah.
Now,
understand. Good point.
The knives that you've set out into the community, and a bunch of us have them, and you personalize them. How did you end up starting to make those?
I bought. I used to be chairman of the Friends of NRA chapter here locally, and I bought like 500 of those that we did them for sponsor knives. We did them for games. We gave them out at our banquets, and I bought extras for myself just to give out for the business. And so I would logo my business name on it and maybe the name of whoever I was giving it to. And I did that for a while. And I have no idea what caused me to start doing that for AOKs, because I've got about 50, give or take, left, and they've been sitting here for a couple years, and it's probably been at least almost that long since I turned that laser on. And for whatever reason, I just decided to laser them, start sending them out for AOKs.
Yeah. For those who don't know, this is what they actually are. A little knife, and then
Mine's in this room, but my kid keeps grabbing it and playing with it, so I always have to get it back from him.
I gotta tell you, it's the ultimate
for him.
spinner.
The little,
it's a fidget spinner. I mean, it really is. I was
Right.
sitting here while we're talking, and I'm like constantly using the thing. I was making a video today, and I was opening a package, and I'm like, "Hey, I need to send this back to Scott to get sharpened, because it's like it's getting dull. What the heck?"
Yeah, Gmail. Yeah, he used to play that.
Yes, DJ, I have seen the Batman. Worst movie ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with your collecting like that, so you've done the toys, you've done the knives. Now, when you sent me that cool Conan figure, you said you were trying to scale down on the figures. So are you trying to realign your collection to just books now and kind of get rid of the rest of the stuff little by little?
Yeah, it's. I've got so many figures, and I don't have 1,000 figures. I've got figures I picked up over the years, but they're in totes up in the attic or in the garage or wherever, and they're not out on display. So if there's something, the one I can get rid of and maybe get a little money out of, or two, give them to somebody that actually appreciates them and is going to display them, that's a win all around.
Right. Well, I think you knew when you saw my video. My jaw was dropped with that. So that one thing made my whole week.
I think it was a YouTube record for the most times somebody said "wow" in a video.
It might have been. So we already kind of went over what your biggest collection is. Obviously, you're a big Silver Age collector, Bronze Age, and Golden Age. Is there any particular run that you're really working on that you've been hunting down? Because we've seen you buy the Disney books lately, and we've seen you really filling out the 4-color books. But where's your collection going right now in the future? What are you trying to complete?
I've got a lot I'm working on, and I guess there's kind of short-term goals and long-term goals as far as what I'm trying to complete. And anymore, most of them are all long-term goals, because there's the runs I'm going through all have some high-dollar books involved. With 4-color, there's probably at least a half a dozen, if not more, 4-figure books in that run that I still need, on top of another 400 issues that are going to cost me between $20 and $100.
Yeah. And that's before bagging and boarding them.
Yeah.
But Daredevil is one I'm going to try and I think accelerate on, for a couple reasons. But that's probably going to be my primary focus in the near future. And then I'm still going to keep working on all the other runs, like Star Spangled War Stories, Unknown Soldier, Our Army of War. All those runs that have a lot of big books in those early numbers from the 50s for most of them.
So we got a question here from Mike at Night Tiger Comics. He wants to ask you, what's high dollar? What is your sweet spot money wise when buying?
I get antsy when I get over 4 figures.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I get antsy when I get over 2.
I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same, Gary. Definitely.
Sorry, Scott, I had to throw that in there.
yeah, I mean I don't really, if it's a $200 or $300 book, I don't sweat those too much. I don't buy them every day, but if there's one I need and I see it, and that's my price range, it's kind of a no brainer. But some of the books that are, once I hit 4 figures, that those are going to be the last ones I get. Unless I get a stupid silly deal on them.
Now, are you we know you buy a lot off eBay. Have you ventured into the whatnot atmosphere at all?
No.
Are you staying away from that particular drug?
Yep.
Okay. Now,
yeah, I put whatnot up there with the Batman.
Okay. So for those out there that are buying books off eBay, and like Jerry's been on here and he's given his advice, and I've used some of Jerry's advice to try to win bids and books and going odd dollars amount. What would be, as an experienced buyer, what's your advice to people who are trying to win bids or even searching out a book? Because sometimes it's hard enough just to find the book you're looking for online, and maybe it's just in how you search it.
That's you got to learn how to search, how to use a Boolean expressions to limit and expand what you're looking for, and use a sniper program. Those are the two big things. I found just by using the expanded search, picked up a Dell Giant 48 a couple weeks ago, which is the first Flintstones,
right?
In an incognito listing. I got it in like 25 other books for $30.
Wow. So we got one funny question with DJ Links taking a bit of a jab at you. And how many guns are within arm's reach?
Just 2.
All right, and then we got
within arm's reach. Yeah.
We got a serious question from Mike again. He wants to know any Golden Age superhero books that you're going after outside of DC or Timely.
Golden Age superhero. None I'm actively. Well,
I'm being corrected by Mike here. It's not searching, it's hunting. Yes, you are correct, sir.
Yes.
I started this weird, again, getting bored with collecting. I can't say bored with collecting one with having a tunnel vision on a title or a series or a character. I started collecting skiing covers, snow skiing, because I like to snow ski. So, and in searching for snow skiing covers, there are a few Golden Age snow ski covers that have, like Captain America number 25 is a nice snow ski cover. So, yeah, that would be one Golden Age superhero book that I would be after.
And then Jerry wants to know what would be your top 4 colors. Your 4 color.
Oh, that's tough. The easy answer is always it's my next one.
Right. And let's get back to DJ here for a second, because I did have this on my list. Everyone who knows you knows you're a big gun guy. So what's some of the highlights of your gun collection, and how many do you own?
It's,
if you don't mind us asking,
and that is always, that's my stock answer for guns. My favorite gun is always my next one, because I bought it for a reason,
right?
And 99% of the time I'm just buying it for collecting purposes.
Yeah.
Because I buy so many that I don't. Yeah. Foremost definitely does have some. In fact, I know I picked at least one up the other day, a Foremost. But anyways, most of the guns I buy are just strictly I don't shoot. I put them away. Again, they're.
Oh, you don't go to a range at all and fire?
I do. I mean, yeah, I shoot a lot, but
I'll say I don't think I could own them without going to a range and shooting.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd have I took a writing class a long time ago, and the person who was holding the class knew someone pretty high up in the FBI at that time. And they actually came down with a bunch of handguns, and all of us in that class got to shoot handguns all day. It was so much fun. I had good grouping, so I guess I was okay at it. And I was supposed to go shoot guns with my buddy last week, and we ended up not being able to do it. But again, that's probably something else. The ammo cost these days has got to be insane with everything else.
Let me get back to Jerry's question before I forget. On the 4-color, Jerry, I would say my favorite issue that I don't have is going to be number 9. First Barks Donald Duck. But the favorite issue that I do have is probably right now is issue 3, which is Alley-Oop. It was just it was the first big issue that I, kind of went on a mission to acquire.
And did you still have that Donald Duck book next to you? Maybe show that off a second, because that was a pretty sweet.
Yeah.
The one you showed me before, that was pretty nice.
That's crazy.
And that was from what awesome. You said 1935.
Yeah, this is the first book dedicated to Donald Duck. 1935.
Oh, it's in black and white too?
No.
Oh, no, it's color. Okay.
That's funny. Wow.
But Mickey's nephew and niece called Donald Uncle Donald in it. Again, it's just a little different than what you're used to.
Well, different times, different stories, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Nice, cool. So you have
back to the guns. Again,
oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like you said, going to the range is just, it's just a blast. I just have to walk outside and I can shoot, at the house. So I've got my own range in the back. But
that explains Chip's limp. No,
yeah. Do the same thing in my city. Hey, I did have a question though related to guns. Being someone that doesn't own a gun, but would be interested in owning a gun, what would you say is a good starter gun for someone to go out and pick up?
A 357. I really like Kimber. Kimber's a manufacturer. They make a gun called a K6, which is a 357. They make it with a few different barrel lengths, but it will all show 357 and 38s can be shot from the same.
Okay.
You can shoot 38s out of a 357. You can't shoot 357s out of a 38. But anyways, you can shoot a slightly less powerful bullet out of the heavier gun, so it's a lot more manageable.
Chip, you had Marcus trolling you saying shotgun.
Yeah, I seen that. I seen him.
Saying the HKVP9.
Yeah, Jerry, that's a good gun, but beginners need to start with revolvers. Just you pull the trigger and it goes bang. If it doesn't, you pull it again. Semi-automatics. I mean, I think everybody should learn how to use them.
Yeah.
And be comfortable with them. But when you're starting out, learn the basics, learn safety using a safe gun. And then get your fun gun that you can, go to town with. But
what's your go-to?
Learning on a revolver is a way to go. When I teach classes, that's really what I emphasize. I'm a concealed carry instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So in my free time, which isn't much, I'll do concealed carry classes.
Yeah.
And I really emphasize that in the classes.
Okay.
You know, until, you know, for people who are carrying and they're beginners, I tell them to carry a revolver, and go ahead and buy that semi-automatic, that, you know, VP9 or whatever, and practice with it. And then someday you'll be confident enough and comfortable, and you can carry it as your concealed carry piece. But until then, carry something that's foolproof, which is a revolver.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've had my license, you know, not concealed carry, but you know, and I've had that for about 5 years now. And then my wife just last year decided she was going to go out and get a, you know, fill out the form, get a license and stuff. And we've been thinking about getting a gun, you know, but I was just like, well, I don't know what to buy. You know, everyone says, oh, 1911. I'm like, I don't, you know, whatever. I don't know, you know.
I love 1911. I do. They're a lot of fun. And for just going to the range and shooting, that's really up there on the list. But for anything, you know, for defense, home defense,
357 38s in it.
Component of that revolver.
Okay. Yeah.
And a good one, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Kimber.
You were touching on it earlier.
You got to train. You got to practice.
Yeah.
You just can't buy it and throw it in the drawer.
Yeah.
You have your own range at home that you've set up.
Yeah.
And someone in the audience want to know if you make your own bullets as well.
I do not. I would love to. I don't have time, because to do it safely, you've got to practice. You've got to get good at it. And I made the mistake once of buying reloads from somebody, and I literally filled a barrel full of lead because I was shooting with a suppressor, and I couldn't hear the difference between a squib, which is when it's an underpowered round and the bullet doesn't actually leave the barrel. So basically one bullet got stuck, and then the next and the next and the next, until I ended up having literally 18 bullets stuck in a barrel. Fortunately, it was a 45, so it was a lower velocity round, and it didn't blow up, but it could have been bad.
Right.
So that was my lesson on never buying somebody else's reloads. And also, you know, reinforces the fact that I shouldn't start reloading until I actually have time to learn how to do it right.
Yeah.
Now, cool. You say you're a gun instructor?
Yes.
All right. So, is that what has been your main job for most of your adult life, and comics is the hobby? Because I think, like most of us, we see the massive collection behind you, and I think most people assume you own a comic store, but you're just a massive collector, you know?
And no, I just got my instructor certification because it's something I like to do. It's just something for me to do on the weekends. Again, when I'm free time, you know, maybe I decide I want a little extra money for something, I'll put together a class, and spend a weekend doing concealed carry classes. And I have fun shooting. I have fun teaching people to shoot. I love to teach people.
All right. So as a guy that shoots a lot of guns, most gun accurate action movie out there?
Oh, I mean, John Wick. Yeah, I mean, it's not even
close, huh?
Not even close. Yeah.
I've seen the videos of him and what's her name out at the range, just kind of going through.
Yeah, I was watching him train, and he was insane.
Holy crap!
He was a natural.
Holy shit, that is awesome. That's all. I was like, damn.
Well, that was like the first gun movie where you're noticing the reloads all the time. You know, it's just not the infinite bullet stream. But just the way they're handled too, like he was always like enforced, but you're always watching that stuff, and for someone who doesn't know, you wonder how accurate it is, you know?
Yeah.
Right, and that's one thing. I mean, I have videos I play in the class of, you know, do's and don'ts, and showing people bad things for movies. I'm like, this isn't real life. You know, you don't do this. And you know, John Wick, you could probably take. There's so many snippets from every movie you could take out to make, you know, this is good. Watch how they do this. You know, you're never going to do this, but if you had to, you know, this is textbook.
This is the way.
And like Chip said, I mean, they did lots of training. There's all sorts of videos out on YouTube of them training.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I show lots of videos of competitions, which is a better place to show safe gun handling and how to do speed reloads if that's something they're interested in.
No, that's competition shooting, right? I'm sorry, Chip. Go ahead.
No. By all means, go ahead. Talk about the competition shooting.
So you're talking about like speed, changing out rounds, right? Changing clips and stuff and reloads.
Right. Yeah. Speed loading mags. If you're shooting, you know, a handgun or a semi-auto like AR, or you know, speed reloads on shotguns, which is totally different. Different type of reloading.
Yeah, and now speaking of the loading shotguns, it's just like it looked so elaborate when he was doing it in the movies with like the big long. The way that's got to be like a whole skill you got to learn yourself to.
It is, and a lot of it's some of what they did was kind of for show. Exaggerated movements, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
But the mechanics and the principle were spot on.
Thank you, Jerry. I was blanking, buddy.
Magazine,
yeah. But no, it's cool. But you imagine, because like guns, like anything else, people who collect guns, just like any other collector, you got your fun aspects to the hobby. Things that you want to get into, things you want to enjoy about it. Not things you would do in an everyday situation, just things that are unique to that, you know, like owning a motorcycle or snowboarding or whatever it is you have.
Yeah. Right.
You always have your tricks and your and stuff like that. So it's interesting. Now, did you ever think about starting up a second channel, like a gun instructional channel, or?
No, I thought I've tried every once in a while to combine everything into one. But I barely have enough time to put content out on one channel. And there's a few the firearms channels I watch that have good content. And they just, I mean, they go all out. So I don't have the time.
Now I got a
I have thought, like when Chip did coffee and comics.
Yep.
You used to do it daily. I thought about, you know, a gun and a comic a day.
There you go. Yeah.
And then I'm like, but when do I have the time to do that? You know.
Yeah.
That's. But
Trust me, I know the grind.
It depends on how bored I get with what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Now, when we had our patriotic covers and you were on with us, one of the things I picked up on that I noticed was I think it was Jerry that showed the book, and you were telling him what kind of gun it was on the book.
Yeah.
Being a gun enthusiast, are you very particular about the depiction of guns in art? Like, where you want to, if it's supposed to be a real gun, like who's like a go-to gun artist where they usually get the type of gun correct? I'm not talking about really the spacey stuff.
I don't pay much attention to that, because I know it's kind of like when Jerry, you know, mentioned magazine instead of clip a little bit ago. It's like I know what they mean. So and that's fine by me. Now if they're trying to say it's something it's not, that's different.
Right.
But if they just got a gun on the cover to have a gun, now I've seen some things that were just totally wrong. Like, I remember, and I don't remember whether it was a comic or whether it was a cartoon and a magazine, but somebody drew a gun that had no ejection port on it.
Yeah, how did you get the case
yeah,
be stuck in there? Yeah, wow.
And somebody drew and again, it was I think this was a magazine that had a cartoon in it. Might have been a political cartoon, but somebody drew a revolver that actually had a slide on top of it, like it was a semi-automatic, but it still had a cylinder. It's like they would just look at pictures, or they thought, well,
memory.
That's cool. Let's put them together and draw a gun.
Wow.
Things like that bother me, but
I'm not a gun comic guy, but what always bugged me was that trend in the 90s where, and I think it was Rob Liefeld, because he couldn't draw feet, he'd draw a gun that nobody could pick up at all. Like, that gun's got to weigh more than the person carrying it. Here's this non-powered person, and they got a gun that's bigger than their torso. And
that whole Rambo thing, you got to be like Rambo and carrying around the the big ass thing that would be hanging in a helicopter.
That's what I did when I was a kid. I drew guns like that had 25 guns hanging off of them that shot flames and shot rockets and mounted on top of the car. And, except Rob Liefeld got paid well to draw it.
Yeah, right? Yeah. That he did.
Now we'll get back to, what is your favorite age of comics that you collect? Because you collect against, golden, silver, bronze, copper, modern. But what's your sweet spot?
It has to be gold, and I would say the expensive ones that I can't afford. Those early golden age, the wartime books.
It's funny because I always picture you, Mike, and Jerry bidding on the same books on eBay fighting.
Yeah. It's like they're on speed dial. Are you bidding on this one? Damn you.
Who's going to get that Wiz Comics?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
like you guys have to set specific dates.
What's that, Scott?
I say Wiz isn't one I actively search.
Right. Well, that is definitely more Mike and Jerry for sure.
Yeah.
But
definitely so.
Now with the comics, you're talking like you're gonna have to start condensing soon, and you're gonna have to probably start selling. Is the public going to be able to look forward to Hoarders Hide mystery boxes from various ages soon, or is that something in the works in the future for you?
So I probably, but the cataloging software I use, it's called Comic Base, and they have their own online sales portal. So if you use the Comic Base software, you can sell anything in your collection on their portal.
So you wouldn't so much do like a run of boxes on Instagram or something. And
so initially, I mean, as I get things entered in and I know these are duplicates and they're for sale, they get marked for sale in my collection and they get listed up online. So anybody can buy them online, but I'm probably going to at some point start pulling them down to make boxes. But yeah, so that's because I'll get the most out of an individual book by somebody paying, because they're going to be listed on the site at whatever the guide price is,
right,
based on grade. So that would be the biggest return. But at some point, I'm going to start pulling things, and and probably making boxes.
Ooh.
But I still got a lot of cataloging. I don't have a lot of cataloging. I've got a lot of organizing because everything is officially cataloged now.
Mm-hmm. And how many pieces of books would that be? How many books do you think you got cataloged now? I know the number, but I just wanted everyone else to hear it.
Okay, it is 21,568.
And you've read every one, right?
Well, yeah, twice. Yeah,
twice.
It was a few more until I bought some from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, wow. Yeah, that's insane. I mean, that's why everyone looks around you. It's like, holy crap, look at all the stuff in his, all the boxes he's got.
So actually, that doesn't include the 8 I got in today. But
now, we know you're a collector, but what are you a reader of? Obviously, you're not reading everything you collect, but are there anything that you always read?
Right now, it's Bunny Mask, and I will read some of these Golden Age books I pick up, some of the 4-color books. Anything that's a standalone story. It's hard for me to find the time to devote to a series. So Bunny Mask, I made the exception for when I got hooked on it. But, back in the day, I read a lot. Now it's very, very little.
I wanted to ask you about Bunny Mask because I'm a huge fan of that too. What was your introduction to that book and what got you hooked on it? Like, how did you hear about it? Not being a modern based guy in books.
Was watching Legions at week's end one week, and him and Ryan were talking about. I can't remember if somebody else was on the show or not that night, but I remember Ryan talking about. So it's all his fault. Ryan was talking about some little girl getting her teeth chipped out on the first page, and I'm like, well, that sounds like a book I've got to check into. So I went and bought it. Sometime later that week, I went and picked up a copy, and ever since, then I started buying the art from Andrea, and that was another rabbit hole. No pun intended.
Yeah, that's one thing I've liked about going to the Comic Cons and seeing Andrea and talking to him has always been like just talking about you in general and talking about how crazy you are and how much you buy from him and how he enjoys. Anytime you say, "Oh, I'm getting this for Scott," Scott know how. He's crazy, man. He's a crazy man, and he's got to quickly get in there and say, let me say, and he's all excited about. I mean, he literally lights up and gets excited about the fact that you're, people know you and that you're putting the word out about his work as well. So,
So between covers and pages and layouts and sketches, I've got 35 or 36 pieces of art from him right now.
Wow.
Didn't you buy the actual entire free comic book day cover, from cover to, the whole thing? Yeah, like the entire
the Bunny Mask.
Oh, the artwork. Yeah.
I've got the cover. I've got all 6 or 8 pages of art and the layouts.
Yeah. Wow.
And what's crazy is I had him like 3 months before the book was published.
And couldn't say nothing.
So,
damn.
But that was kind of neat in a way because there was no words on it, so all I could do was look at these pictures and in my head try and figure out what the story was going to be. And I'm amazingly I wasn't too far off. Obviously, I didn't have the dialogue down, but I could just tell from the art what was kind of transpiring.
Yeah.
And I think with Bunny Mask too, that's one of those books where the story being told and the art just match up really well. They're like made for each other. Because that first issue, that's so many first issues you read, they don't really hook you. You're like, all right, I'll check out issue 2, see what that's like, see if it keeps going. But the first issue of Bunny Mask just pulls you right in, and you're ready for issue 2.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's been one of those series that I've enjoyed as well. That Bunny Mask one. So
now, Scott, would that be in a horror title? And he
hey,
faded to black. Did we lose him?
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think I heard him.
Yeah, you hear him.
yeah. I hit the wrong button.
Oh, okay. Now, well, it's appropriate. So with Bunny Mask being a horror title, and obviously I'm a big horror guy. Has horror based stories always played a big part in your life? Have you always been a fan, or is Bunny Mask kind of like you first get into it? Because like Bill in the chat, Comic Mag Musings, he's a big pre-code horror guy. Plus, post-code horror. He really enjoys those titles. And as you know, with me being a Conan fan and Robert E. Howard fan, and you as well, there's a lot of horror elements in those stories that people don't realize. They just see what's put on the big screen. They don't actually know the true source material. So, how much does horror play with what you enjoy?
Again, it's I'm very eclectic. So it was a combination of the horror aspect and the art. I mean, I think the story of Bunny Mask without Andrea's art, I don't know if it would have held me as much. I mean, I can't say that till I see another artist doing it.
Yeah.
But
you can't disassociate the two now.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like when I see these other covers that people do of Bunny Mask, and it's not Andrea's art. I mean, some of them are pretty cool, but then you look at some of them and you just shake your head and go, "Nope, that's not it."
and that's very true, because I picked up some indie books where I heard the premise and I'm like, "Ooh, that sounds great," and opened the page, couldn't get past the art and put it right back down.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't matter how well this is written. I'm not going to get by this art. It's already ruining it for me.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So we'll start wrapping it up here in about 10 minutes, but I want to still get into a little bit of comics, because you were a big reader at one point, right? Where you had a lot more time in your life. What is your favorite storyline in comics? Has it been the same, or has it changed throughout the years? Because usually we all have one great storyline that we like. For me, it's 58 through 100 of Conan the Barbarian, the whole Elite saga.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm going to say probably the first maybe half a dozen issues of Eternal Warrior. Or either that or the actual original Valiant Unity saga. And probably because, I don't know, I mean, one of the big reasons I think that was my first big reintroduction into comics. I was into them when I was a kid. And then in the 90s, early 90s, when I got back into them for a little bit, that's when Valiant was big. And that Unity saga, I was just all about it. That's what got me into.
And that was the Jim Shooter era, right?
Yes, exactly. And Barry Windsor was doing lots of covers for him. But yeah, that's probably my favorite arc of anything would be that whole Unity saga. And if I had to pick just one title, I loved, might be a toss up between that and Archer and Armstrong. Well, again, from Valiant, because Archer and Armstrong started just before Unity. It was one of the first, maybe if not the first, issue zeros to come out. And
started the trend, huh?
They put issue 0 out, and they actually put it out first, and then issue 1 was inside of the Unity saga. And same with Eternal Warrior, issue 1 was inside the Unity saga. So it was, but yeah, that's got to be it.
Well, that's cool, because in the community, Valiant gets a lot of slams, but that's mostly just for funsies. Because the people out there that are Valiant readers are diehard Valiant readers. So there's got to be something there for the
Well,
stories.
they went downhill fast. They went downhill real fast.
Oh, they crashed and burned, huh?
Yeah, and they fell into that overproduction glut that so many books in the 90s did.
Yeah.
Just made way too many of them. Like, the Bloodshot with 350,000 produced.
I think the 90s hit a lot of companies that way.
Yeah.
There was a lot of mistakes made in the 90s by companies.
Yeah. That's an understatement.
Right. Now, was there ever any gimmick that got you in the 90s with comics, whether it was the foil covers or the prismatic covers?
I fell for all of them.
Huh?
I fell for all of them.
Did you?
If it was a gimmick, it was getting me.
It's like a dog sees a squirrel. It's like, ooh, squirrel. Ooh,
Yep.
Squirrel.
You got Cold Joe saying
covers
Archer and
for
Armstrong is a fun read.
Chromium covers for sure. And then the hologram covers like they were doing on the X-Men back then.
Yep, and the Spider books.
Spider-Man, the Spider books.
The Spider-Man holograms are horrible. Now, the ones in the card series weren't bad because they would come out pretty good. But the ones that are actually on the books were just bad.
Yeah.
And then all the foil. And I remember Fantastic Four doing some all-white covers, some all-red covers.
Yep.
I got an all-white one.
The embossed. You could barely make
the
them out.
embossed, the cuts, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had to pick a favorite, though, it was the chromium. I mean, they were just because they were extra sturdy, extra shiny, nice and glossy. They were that was the one gimmick. If I don't pick one gimmick to stick with, it was those chromium covers.
Have you picked up any of the metal covers that have been recently coming out now?
Yes,
you have.
Yeah,
very cool.
They're I've got several bunny masks. I don't know how many. And then I've got one Maniac of New York. In fact, this is bunny mask just came in today.
Wow. Yep.
For issue 2 of the new series. And I think I've got one or two Maniacs. Here's a Maniac. Metal.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
So, and I'm kind of.
Now, I've never held one. Do they feel weird to hold the metal covers?
They do. They're heavier.
Sturdy.
Yeah, I mean you get used to it real quick, but when you first pick it up, it's definitely.
Yeah.
Now that's just attached to another cover on right. It's just because you got to read the book regular.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Then the Aftershock booth at the conventions, they're always. I mean, that's their big thing is they have the whole big table full of those metal covers. So, and every time I see the bunny mask, I always think of you. But yeah, there's always some cool ones. So
Aftershocks had a few good things come out. Like God Tremors was a great one shot.
Yeah.
And there was another one shot they had out that I read too. I can't remember it right now, but I had it over there. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
This new Calculated Man they have out is supposed to be pretty good too. I haven't read it yet, but that new series.
And Rhinos has their own cover of that too. It was
optioned before it was even printed.
Oh wow. That's crazy.
Well, there's a couple neat covers out for that.
Yeah.
Now, what, if anything, could get you back into collecting modern books, Scott?
Dumb luck of some sort.
Yeah.
All the stars align.
I find
something totally random, like with Ryan, mentioning this.
Yeah.
That scene from Bunny Mask, and it just piquing my interest. and them talking about how messed up the whole story was and how they couldn't understand what was going on. So it'd have to be something like that. Every time I go to the LCS to pick that up and dig through the $3 bins or the dollar bins, I look at the new books, and I used to do lots and lots and lots of cover buys. In fact, back in the day, I used to buy direct from Diamond. So I had my own Diamond account, and I had to order their minimum every week, and so that's where a lot of these books came from, was meeting my weekly minimum Diamond order.
Wow.
Lord.
And a lot of that was cover buys by looking through previews back in the day, flipping through previews and going, I like that cover, and those are what my orders would be. But now when I go to the LCS, I see a cover I like, and if I really like, I picked up a copy of Ice Cream Man. I forget the issue number, but it was one of those infinity covers of Ice Cream Man, and I picked it up and I just set it on the counter. I didn't even open the book up. There's other books I look at, and I look at the cover and I go, oh, I like that cover, but I flip through the book first. And if nothing else in the book really piques my interest, I put it back.
Yeah.
Trev, he is not a comic store. He's just a collector.
Yeah.
He does sell comics, but that is not a comic store behind him.
Yeah.
So when I started ordering from Diamond, I kind of fibbed a little bit, and I told them I was an online retailer, which in a way I was, because I did sell online. I just didn't sell comics. Online. And I kind of did, because back then I was buying some collections and selling things. I sold a few. I kick myself for selling a couple of them now, but so they gave me an account. They'd give anybody an account that would meet the minimum order, basically.
Right. Well, they like money, like any business.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys that sell online, and there's one gentleman that they buy collections from all the time, and this guy's name's Bruce or something like that. And he ended up going on, and Rob knows who these guys are. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but anyway, the guy, actually, him and his brother were planning on opening a comic shop. They were getting all of these comics sent to them from Diamond and all that, and then they would just take them and throw them in the closet. Well, now you got all these comics that are like pre-bagged and boarded, stuck together, where you're peeling apart the comic off from one to the next. And I've got so many Daredevil runs based on that, especially the Frank Miller run. It's like all of that, just a whole slew of those that they had. And I got to pick them up fairly inexpensive for the price of, for them. And these things are in mint. I mean, they're amazing condition, It's just because they've never seen the light of day. They've been sitting in a closet for, years, so it's pretty crazy that, just an average Joe person. Yeah. Okay. I got a Diamond account,
Hey, if you could do it, like, I know I still use previews, because if there's a book I want to make sure I get, I don't trust just showing up and it's going to be there. One, I either make sure I order it from my comic shop, so it's going to be on the pull list, or I order it from previews, knowing it's going to be sent there with my name on it.
Yeah, for me that's too much organizing. If I can't order it online from previews, then I have trouble with it. It's like if I have to order it, my shop doesn't go through previews on the line online. So
yeah, I just my LCS uses an app called Comic Box or Comic Hub, so I can message them. Like when I found out Fables was coming out again, I messaged them and I'm like, "Give me one of every cover of Fables that comes out." Same with Bunny Mask. I just messaged them, and so they added to my pool.
Yeah. Comic Hub. I actually have that because there was a shop locally that was doing it. I'm like, ooh, I should check into that.
Well, and it's great. Just order them, and then you get the notification in the email, and the book you want is there. It doesn't matter if you show up at the comic shop and there's none on the shelf. Yours is there.
Yours is there.
One person, well, how come you get it? I don't, because I ordered it through previews. Previews has to send it to me. He didn't do me any favors by pulling it. I legit ordered it.
And it's nice that you can pay for them through the app. and then send somebody in to pick up your books.
Yeah.
So, nice. That's a good feature.
That's a cool feature. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So then that way, whoever's picking them up, like you can send your wife chip, and she doesn't know how much you're spending because it's already paid for.
She'll know one way or another, man. She always knows. She always knows. I came home to your package and a couple other things. She's like, "What'd you buy?" I'm like, "I bought them a long time ago. They gave them to me." I was like, I thought it was a promiscuous time traveler package, and then I was like, "Oh wow, Scott shipped this out soon." And then I felt bad because I got a couple comics I'm sending your way. I was like, "Damn it, I should have put those in the mail the other day," but I got them. I'll get you. I hook you up. So, but yeah.
All right, so we've been going for an hour and 5 minutes. We're going to wrap this up.
Right.
My final question for you, Scott, and then I'll give it to Chip if he has a final question, is what do you think needs to change in the current comic marketplace for there to be continued success?
Let's see.
I'm asking you the hard questions because I know you're smart enough to answer them.
Variants need to stop. Prices need to come back down to, real levels. Because everything's still hyperinflated, in my opinion. And those are the two big things. And you can tell people are burnt out on variant covers. And it's just going to get, if they're not careful, they're going to get into the same glut they got into in the 90s where everything was overproduced.
Well, that, and I think, as far as I'm concerned, too, all the 3-4 different crossovers per big company every year in all their books just, I think, kills the momentum of those solo titles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, when was it? The new 52 came out, that was a big super crossover. But yeah, that's crossovers used to be once every 5 years, maybe. Mm-hmm. And like you said, 3 or 4 a year sometimes now.
Yeah, per big two.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they each had 4 or 5 last year, and they're already at that this year. So Chip, throw it to you, man. Your last question, if you got one.
So my question was kind of similar to what he'd asked, but are you concerned about the actual comic book market crashing with the recession and all that? It seems like every YouTuber nowadays has a recession issue with comics, and the recession. Are they gonna survive? Are you concerned about any of that?
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's just inevitable. And I've been saying for a long, long time that once it hits a peak, there's going to be a minimum of 40% price correction, which still means a lot of them are going to be higher than they were in 2019.
Yeah.
But they're going to be down from their peak at least 40%, with the exceptions of, the blue chip books.
The blue chips, yeah.
And then they're going to take a hit. It's not 40%.
Yeah.
And when I say 40%, I think that's going to be an average, because you're going to have some books that are going to take 100% hit. They're going to go back to the dollar bins.
Yeah.
And then other books, like the blue chips, they'll take 10, 15, maybe 20.
Yeah.
And then level off and go back to their normal rate of increase. But everything else, the minor keys and all the fluff books.
Yeah. Me being a new collector, I was kind of always curious about it, and I know you've been in it, well past your 5 years of because you're only 5 years older than me, so it's now, but what I say is, you've been on it for quite some time. And with that being said, I knew you have been through it already once before in the past and sat through that and lived through that. And I hadn't. So I was just curious what your thoughts were.
Well, I mean, when I got back in, I just got back into this a year ago, give or take, year and a half. And I got back into it with the intentions of selling. In fact, I sold a lot of books through that comic base, through their online portal.
Yeah.
And somebody, Ready Made Breakup, he has lots of Batman books on Instagram. I was showing him some stuff, trying to sell him some Batman books, and he said, "You should be putting this stuff on Instagram." So, a year and a half later, here I am. But I couldn't. That's when I found out how much all these books had gone up.
Yeah,
books I had unbagged and boarded, sitting in boxes that I thought were worthless were $100 books now.
Yeah.
So that was kind of an eye opener for me.
Unfortunately, you dive into them like Uncle Scrooge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Well, that was my question. It was more to do with the recession, so I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Jerry. I hope it does. I mean, we're already seeing it, but I hope it takes a big nosedive and gets kind of back down to reality.
So save your money so you can buy them when they drop.
Exactly. I mean,
it'll eventually go back up again.
An artificial increase and the corrections.
Yeah, it was a COVID increase. Yeah, got the big COVID increase. Everybody's hunting for spots. Yeah. Yep.
And then you had books that were coming out that were day one $20 books that should be cover price.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of those are now in the dollar bins.
Yeah. Right. And then 30 different variants for these cover number ones. And it's like, really? Seriously? 30 freaking, it's like, you got alphabet is like A, A, B, B, C, C. I was like, what the hell?
Well, yeah, it's not. Once your variant covers start getting to E, F, G, you
got too many. Yeah.
Well, I think Button Math has 22 variants. And I don't think that is counting, and that's not if you count, that's 22 different covers. That's not counting trade, dress, and virgin.
Trade and virgin, yeah.
So on that, you can almost double it because almost every one has a trade and a virgin.
And virgin, yeah.
Right, and it kills me with Dynamite too. Like Dynamite is more diehard variant than even the big two are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have 4 pages in the back of their books just dedicated to the variants they have.
Yep. To the girls.
It's not, all the different artists, and it's just nuts.
Yeah. Yep.
But wow.
Yeah.
Right,
I agree, Jerry. Patience is a virtue. You can.
Yes.
You wait. You'll find it for a price you're happy with.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. As long as you're happy with what you paid for it, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Well, that's exactly right. All of us work hard, and if you buy something with your money, no one else should have an opinion on it. You earned that money. As long as it was worth it to you, nobody else should have a say.
Yeah.
If they don't like what you spent on it, it's not out of their pocket. Too bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
See, I run into that stuff because that bugs me when somebody always wants to spend my money, right? Why would you buy Starbucks? That's like that's like a $5 cup. I'm like, I don't know. I don't bitch about you smoking cigarettes, so why are you bitching about me spending money on coffee?
Right.
You know? I
can't say nothing about either.
I'm not picking on cigarettes. I'm just saying I don't pick on what you spend your money on. Don't pick on what you spend mine on.
Yep. Very true.
And
Very true.
You know, everybody wants to tell everybody else how to spend their money, and at the end of the day, you got to do what's comfortable for you. And just enjoy your hobby, man. Everything else in life is too difficult. If you got a little hobby that brings you joy and happiness, let it be there for you.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, if you're collecting for the money, then it's going to eat you up. Because all you're going to do is stress over it.
Yeah. That's the one thing I learned right away was I was going in, I was buying a bunch of stuff, and then I was like, oh, I could buy this because it's a variant. It's going to increase in value. I know it is, and that. And then after going out and buying a whole bunch of the whole Marvel Legacy stuff and realizing that all 20 covers of that is not worth anything anymore on number one, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? It's like I can't even give them away now.
It's like buying the ratio variants, right? Oh, but it's a 1 in 50. I see it on Whatnot. Like Whatnot sellers selling. Look, this is a 1 in 50. We're only asking $30 for it. That's a steal. I can't believe you guys aren't buying it. It's going to be $1 book in 6 months. It doesn't matter. It's a 1 in 50.
Yeah,
even
exactly.
if it's a crap cover, it's a
1 in
crap cover.
50, I might disagree with. That one should always hold some value.
Yeah.
Any less than that, though.
1 in 25, 1 in 10s. Yeah.
Yeah, the 1 in 15s, especially. I mean, that was a big number they were using. They're dollar books now for the most part.
Well, and I've seen a lot of 1 in 50s go down to the $10 range where they were up in like $80-$90, some of them 100.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now it's like, it's sat in the comic shop for 2 years and nobody's obviously going to buy it at that price.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Do you want it to sit there for another 10 years or do you want to move it out of your shop and make room for more inventory?
Yeah.
just like that 1 in 50 I just got. I paid $35 probably for it. Maybe I paid 40. I wanted it. It's Fables. It's going in the run, so I can be a completionist, and and in 6 months, it'll probably be $10. But,
well, I can certainly say that I've never fallen into that trap with anything Conan or Red Sonja related.
Not at all. I can't imagine you would.
Only a couple dozen times, but that's it.
Yeah. That was just last week a couple dozen times.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right. First of all, guys, Chip, what's coming up on your channel, sir? And then I'm gonna.
Let's see. I have a couple of new comics that I just picked up, got in the mail. I also have a nice little stack of Daredevil that Mr. Scott from Hoarders Hide, who by all means everyone should follow and check out his channel. And but I ended up picking up some stuff from him, so I'm going to make a video on that. And I have another Black Series figure that also came in, so I don't know what it is. So we'll open it up and figure it out, I guess. So that's about it. Between that and banter on Saturday.
There you go. And Scott, what's coming up for your channel, sir?
I have nothing scheduled. I am waiting on a huge piece of artwork to come in. So I'll do a video on it when it comes.
Bunny mask?
No. I have a piece of bunny mask on the way in too, but this is bigger than bunny mask.
Nice.
So when it comes in fact, I may do the bunny mask and it at the same time. Other than that, it'll just be my normal. When I pick up some more Daredevil, I'll do.
I hate you, bastard! I had to show it off. I knew it.
I got to show the big D.
Oh yeah, we know how you are with that big D.
But yeah,
throws it out there.
Hit the LCS again. There's some more. I don't know if you guys saw the video I did on the LCS where they will reprice books when you bring them up to the counter, and will lower them if they're overpriced.
Oh wow!
But if they're underpriced, they sell them to you for what they're marked at.
Nice. That's pretty good.
So it's the first place I've ever been that does that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, normally it's the other way around. They raise the prices.
They raise the price. Yeah, they're giving you eBay price on it.
So, and they've got great prices on books, and I'm going to hit them up again because there's still about 7 long boxes I haven't hit.
Wow.
So that'll be another video. Yeah. Other than that, I'm just going to be lurking.
That's all right. Lurk away. And guys, make sure everyone in the chat that you're paying attention because this Saturday night we have a bonus episode of the 1011 with Slim Comics and more. So Sean will be dropping by the channel. We're going live at 7 o'clock so we can be off for banter because we don't want to interrupt Chip's show. So if we do a Saturday night show, we usually do it at 7 so we don't run into banter too much. And so we'll have Sean from Slim's Comics and more this Saturday night live at 7 o'clock. Next week on In the Hot Seat with the usual suspects, we will have Mr. Alan Rue, the comic Viking, on. So that'll be a fun show as well. And next Tuesday on the 10/11, we have Biggie Shack. So we got a whole lot of fun coming our way this week, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So please stay tuned into the channel. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much. We had a great crowd tonight. For most of this, we had at least 17 people in the chat alone. 18 for a lot of it. So we had a really good crowd show up. Thank you for coming out to support the channel. Thank you for coming out to support Scott's appearance on our show. Yes. And I know Chip kept those numbers down a little bit. We could have went a little higher, but I'm not going to
probably. That's okay. That's okay. You know.
But no,
I tend to prove that.
Thank you very much for co-hosting tonight, sir.
No problem.
Scott,
my pleasure.
Thank you for coming on. I know it took a few weeks for you and I to get our life stuff organized to get you on. 1 week you had a bad week. Another week I had a bad week, but we made it happen, sir. So thank you for sticking it out.
Yeah, appreciate you bringing me on.
Right? We always make it work somehow. But guys, thank you all so much. And everyone have a great evening. And as always, keep it casual.